Welcome, dear dreamer, to Candle by the Sea, a place where stories drift like soft candlelight across quiet evenings, and the world slows to a gentle rhythm. Before we begin, make yourself comfortable. Take a deep breath, feel the weight of your day settle, and let your shoulders gently release. Tonight, we journey into a valley that has waited patiently for you, where the earth itself teaches the quiet strength of persistence, patience, and presence. If you feel at home here, consider softly tapping the subscribe button so these gentle stories can continue to find you night after night. Stay with me as we move slowly, letting every sound, every scent, every shimmer of light guide you toward calm. Taurus, Earthbound Heart. Part 1. The Valley That Waited. The traveler arrived quietly, not with a fanfare of steps or a rush of purpose, but as one might enter a dream already half remembered. The path leading into the valley curved gently between soft hills, each fold of the earth catching the late afternoon sun in muted golds and browns. There was no sound beyond the whisper of wind through tall grass, a breeze that carried the faint warmth of soil and stone, and the soft hum of distant birds that seemed too contented to be named. Here, the air itself was calm, as though it had learned the language of waiting. It wrapped around the traveler with a weightless embrace, carrying the sense of something older than movement, older than days. Each breath drew in the scent of the valley, fertile earth, the faint sweetness of wildflowers, the hint of moss clinging to stones along the way. It was a scent that promised grounding, that spoke softly of rest, of being held. The traveler's steps slowed, almost unconsciously. Their feet pressed into the soft soil, feeling the gentle resistance of the earth beneath, a steady presence in every subtle shift of weight. A single stone path, worn smooth by unseen generations, guided the way, though it demanded no urgency. There was no need to follow it precisely, for the valley itself seemed alive, sensing the traveler's arrival, allowing space, allowing time. As they walked, the traveler noticed the light. It pooled in soft corners among the hills, catching on leaves and low branches in golden streams that danced lazily across the ground. Shadows stretched long and gentle, not harsh or abrupt, and the hills themselves seemed to breathe slowly, rising and falling with a rhythm that matched the traveler's own tentative heartbeat. The valley was a place that did not rush. The streams moved without urgency, their waters gliding over rounded stones, murmuring against roots and fallen leaves with a tone of quiet patience. The traveler paused beside one, kneeling to let fingers touch the cool surface. Tiny ripples spread outward in concentric circles, a reminder that even small movements could carry impact, though without haste. The water held a weightless grace, carrying the promise of calm persistence. A soft breeze rustled the branches overhead. A single leaf detached, twirling down in slow rotation before settling gently on the grass. The traveler watched it, noticing the deliberate patience in its fall. For a moment, time seemed to stretch, like the sky itself had exhaled. There was no need to hurry. Nothing needed to be decided. Nothing needed to be proven. The valley and the earth beneath waited. Ahead, a gentle rise of the land revealed a grove, small but dense, with trees whose trunks were wide and welcoming. Moss clung to their bark, and faint trails of lichen shimmered in the muted sunlight. The travelers stepped beneath the canopy, and a new sense of calm washed over them, deeper than the mere absence of motion. Here, the world seemed to breathe in unison with the traveler's chest, and the soft sigh of leaves in the wind was a song of welcome. The grove's floor was a tapestry of texture, fallen leaves, soft moss, and delicate shoots reaching upward. Every sound was cushioned. The crunch of footsteps was muted, replaced by a sensation of walking upon pillows, yet firm enough to feel supported. In this quiet, the traveler felt a shift, subtle but undeniable, a softening of muscles, a gentle slowing of thoughts. Birdsong floated through the branches, not insistent, but delicate, almost hesitant, as if inviting the traveler to listen rather than respond. Each note lingered, then drifted away, leaving space between the sounds for reflection, for calm. The traveler closed their eyes for a moment, drawing in the scent of bark and damp earth, feeling the soft weight of the sun on their shoulders. The grove held them without claim or expectation. A small stream curved gently through the grove, its waters tumbling over stones in a slow, deliberate rhythm. The traveler followed it, letting fingers skim the cool surface, feeling the steady pull of its flow. Tiny fish darted beneath, their movements quick yet unhindered. A subtle lesson in persistence without haste. The traveler smiled softly, recognizing in their own reflection on the water not just their face, but the weight of journeys carried silently for years. They found a stone, smooth and flat, near the water's edge, and settled upon it. Here, time became less linear, more like a soft swell, a tide that rose and fell without the urgency of counting moments. The traveler's breathing synchronized with the rhythm of the water, in and out, slow, deliberate, easy. The valley seemed to acknowledge each inhalation, each exhalation, as though the land itself were learning the language of patience. The sun began to dip lower, casting longer shadows that painted the grove in shifting patterns of light and dark. The traveler noticed how the light softened edges rather than cutting sharply, how each shape blended with the next. The earth, the trees, the water, the very air all moved together in a symphony of gentle endurance. There was a profound safety here, a quiet assurance that no suddenness could disturb the natural order. Small details caught the traveler's attention. A spider's web glimmered with the faintest trace of dew, suspended between two low branches. The traveler watched the intricate pattern, noticing how each thread, though delicate, held firm against the wind. There was a strength in this gentleness, a reminder that endurance could be quiet and beautiful rather than loud or forceful. As the sky deepened into evening, the valley seemed to glow with a subtle radiance. Golden tones faded into soft ambers, then muted violets, and the first stars began to appear, shy and slow in their emergence. The traveler leaned back against the smooth bark of a tree, feeling the solid presence of the trunk behind them, and with it, a grounding sensation that had been absent for too long. Here, in this place, they were held. The valley seemed aware of their arrival, responding in whispers of wind, flickers of light, and gentle echoes in the distant hills. A doe stepped lightly through the trees, pausing to regard the traveler with calm curiosity before moving on without alarm. Even the creatures of the valley carried themselves with measured grace, teaching without teaching, guiding without speaking. A faint fragrance of flowers, almost hidden among the moss and soil, reached the traveler. It was a scent that promised rest, that spoke of patience and quiet growth. The traveler inhaled slowly, feeling a warmth bloom in their chest, a gentle relaxation that had been long overdue. Muscles softened, shoulders released tension, and the mind, so often restless, began to ease. Night deepened slowly, not suddenly. The first notes of crickets rose in the distance, accompanied by the soft rustle of leaves in a mild evening breeze. The traveler lay back against the tree, arms loosely folded, gazing upward through the canopy. Stars peeked through branches like shy lanterns, their light steady and unwavering. The valley breathed with them, a silent partner in this gentle pause, a companion in calm endurance. In this moment, the traveler understood that arrival was not merely the crossing of a threshold, but the recognition of safety, the discovery of a place that held them exactly as they were. Here, patience was not waiting in boredom or stillness, but an active, loving presence that nurtured without pressure. Here, loyalty was not tested by storms or trials, but by the quiet act of being present, of staying with oneself and the world around them. The traveler's eyes closed, and the grove seemed to lean in closer, a gentle embrace of shadow and scent. The stone beneath their back was firm yet forgiving, the moss cushioning, the air carrying the faint warmth of sun and soil. Time lost its sharp edges, moments blended in a seamless current of calm, a river flowing steadily without hurry or expectation. The valley had waited long for this quiet arrival, and in turn, it offered the traveler its own stillness. A promise lingered in the soft night air. Here, there would be no rush, no fear, no demand. Only the patient rhythm of earth, wind, and water. Only the gentle unfolding of what it meant to rest, to be present, to belong. And so the traveler rested, breathing with the valley, feeling a new kind of weightlessness, grounded in the surety of the earth beneath. The night deepened, the stars shimmered, and the valley, ancient and enduring, held them gently, securely, fully. The journey to this place had been long, but the arrival itself was a quiet revelation. Here, they were home, and the earth waited with them. Sleep was not demanded, nor forced. It simply came, like a tide rising slowly, carrying the traveler into a calm, safe, dreamlike drift. The last thought before consciousness softened into rest was of the valley itself, enduring, patient, loyal, and steady, a heart bound to the earth, and now to the traveler as well. The soft hum of night carried them further into stillness, and as their breath slowed, mingling with the sigh of wind through trees and the whisper of flowing water, the valley exhaled alongside them, a gentle promise of grounding, safety, and the patient strength that would guide the traveler in the days to come. Part 2. The Language of the Earth. The traveler woke with the first light of dawn filtering through the trees. The valley, softened by mist and early sun, seemed to hum quietly in welcome. The dew on leaves and grass caught the light in tiny glimmers, like scattered fragments of gold. There was no rush to rise, no expectation to move. The valley itself invited a lingering presence, a slow exploration, an attunement to its rhythm. Rising from the stone where they had rested, the traveler felt the soft earth beneath their feet once more. Each step was deliberate, an acknowledgement of weight and presence. The soil gave slightly, yielding yet firm, a tactile reminder of the valley's enduring patience. The air was cool and scented with moss, damp earth, and the subtle sweetness of flowering vines that crept along the tree trunks. Each inhalation carried a grounding calm, a gentle tethering to the moment. A narrow path wound through a gentle rise, lined with small wildflowers that seemed to bow toward the traveler with each passing breeze. Tiny blossoms, pale lavender and soft cream, dotted the green expanse, each one a subtle note in the symphony of stillness. The traveler paused to brush a finger across a petal, noting the delicate texture and the quiet resilience of life that thrived here without hurry. The valley spoke in its own language, a rhythm understood not through words, but through touch, sight, and breath. The traveler noticed the subtle undulations of the land, the way a stream curved to embrace a smooth stone, the way roots intertwined beneath the soil in silent conversation. There was a pulse here, steady and slow, echoing through the moss, through the grass, and into the traveler's own heart. Birds flitted among the branches, not in frantic haste, but in calm, purposeful arcs. Their songs were soft, each note measured, allowing space between sound and silence. The traveler closed their eyes and listened, realizing that the pauses were as meaningful as the sounds themselves. In this language of the earth, patience and observation were the true teachers. A gentle wind rose, carrying the faint rustle of leaves and the distant hum of the valley streams. The traveler extended a hand to feel the currents of air, noticing the way it seemed to embrace them, carrying subtle scents, brushing against hair and skin. It was as if the wind itself had learned to move slowly here, honoring the space and presence of all that dwelled within the valley. As the traveler ventured further, they came to a grove of ancient trees, their trunks wide and wrapped in soft moss. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting patterns of dappled gold upon the earth. Here, the traveler paused, placing hands gently against the bark of one great tree. There was warmth beneath their palms, a subtle subtle vibration that spoke of age, endurance, and patience. The tree, silent yet profoundly present, seemed to communicate without words, teaching that strength was quiet and persistence was gentle. The traveler knelt beside a small stream that wound through the grove, its waters gliding over stones smoothed by years of flow. Fingers trailed in the cool liquid, tracing its path and feeling its soft resistance. Tiny currents swirled and eddied, yet there was no hurry. Every movement was deliberate, purposeful, and enduring. The traveler realized that the valley moved like this too, not in a frantic rush toward an unseen goal, but in an unbroken, flowing continuity. A bird landed lightly nearby, tilting its head with curious grace. The traveler observed it without movement, feeling a sense of kinship in stillness. The bird's presence was a small reminder that even in quiet, observation and attention were alive, that awareness was a form of connection. It flitted away, leaving a trail of soft rustling, and the traveler smiled at the simplicity and clarity of the moment. Further along, the traveler came across a gentle rise, a small hill covered in wildflowers and short, resilient grasses. They climbed slowly, noticing the interplay of colors, textures, and shapes beneath their feet. Every blade of grass, every flower, every stone seemed to have a story, a history woven into the fabric of the valley. And the traveler began to sense that these stories were offered freely to anyone who would slow enough to listen. Sitting at the top of the hill, the traveler closed their eyes again. The valley unfolded in all directions, a living mosaic of green and gold, earth and stone, sky and water. The air was thick with the scent of soil and new growth, carrying a weightless warmth that settled in the chest and shoulders. Every inhalation seemed to draw the valley deeper into the traveler's being, and every exhalation released tension and thought, leaving a gentle emptiness filled only with presence. The sun climbed higher, and with it came a gentle heat that pressed softly against the skin. The traveler lay back upon the grass, feeling the firmness of the earth beneath and the tender resistance as it held them. The breeze whispered across the valley, ruffling hair, brushing against the cheeks, and it seemed to speak softly, without language. Be here, observe, breathe, receive. A pair of deer appeared in the distance, moving slowly and deliberately through the trees. The traveler watched as they navigated the uneven ground with calm confidence, each step careful, each movement measured. There was no panic in their passage, no fear of misstep, only awareness and grace. It struck the traveler that this, too, was a form of guidance, a quiet demonstration of trust in the ground beneath, in the rhythm of the day, in the continuity of life. Nearby, a small cluster of stones caught the traveler's eye. Rounded, smooth, and worn by countless seasons, they seemed almost polished by the wind and sun. The traveler ran fingers across their surfaces, feeling the subtle textures and temperature changes. The stones had endured storms, heat, frost, and rain. And yet, they remained grounded, patient, and strong, a mirror to the valley itself. The valley's language revealed itself in subtleties, The soft click of a twig underfoot, the slow ripple of water over stone, the brush of leaf against leaf, and the weightless hum of sunlight across the moss. Every sound, every touch, every scent was part of a conversation. It was not hurried, not insistent, not demanding. It simply was, and in that being, it invited participation, awareness, and calm acceptance. The traveler moved through a narrow grove where the trees arched overhead, forming a natural tunnel. The canopy filtered the light, creating shifting patterns of shadow and glow. Here, the air was cooler, tinged with the scent of moss and damp earth. The traveler paused in the center, placing both hands on the bark of the nearest tree. A subtle warmth radiated through their palms, seeping into the arms, the chest, and finally into the legs and feet. The valley spoke again. Grounding, persistence, quiet endurance. The traveler knelt to the soil, running fingers through it, feeling the fine granules give under gentle pressure. In each movement, there was a sense of dialogue, a recognition that the earth beneath, like the valley itself, responded to attention and care. They dug lightly, moving aside small stones, noticing the rich smell of damp soil, the cool, soft roots beneath. This simple act of engagement, unhurried and deliberate, brought a deepening sense of presence. A gentle stream, smaller than the one before, wound through the grove, carrying the scent of wet earth and leaves. The traveler knelt beside it, letting water flow over fingertips, watching as sunlight caught on its surface. Tiny ripples moved outward, a soft, circular echo of interaction and cause. And as they watched, the traveler realized that the valley's strength was cumulative, built not through sudden acts, but through a quiet, persistent presence over time. As afternoon drifted into evening, the valley's hues shifted subtly. Golden light deepened into soft amber, shadows grew long and tender, and the breeze carried a gentle coolness that promised rest. The traveler found a soft patch of moss beside the stream and settled upon it, feeling the pulse of life beneath and around them. Every sound, every scent, every touch became magnified, yet gentle, a language the traveler began to understand intuitively. They observed a single oak tree, its branches wide and welcoming, roots buried deep. A bird perched high upon a limb, stretching wings and tilting its head. The traveler noted how the tree held space without demand, how the bird moved with quiet confidence. In this, the valley taught a form of loyalty and persistence, a steadfastness that required no effort beyond being fully present. The traveler closed their eyes, letting the sounds of water, wind, and leaves fill the awareness. Thoughts of journeys past, of restless wandering, drifted away like clouds carried by the breeze. What remained was a sense of belonging, of alignment, and of trust, not in a destination, but in the quiet rhythm of life itself. By the time stars began to twinkle faintly in the sky above, the traveler felt a deepening connection with the valley. Each step had been a conversation, each pause a lesson, each breath a bridge between self and earth. The valley was patient, and in its patience, it offered understanding, strength is quiet, loyalty is persistent, and rest is not surrender, but engagement with the moment fully present. The traveler lay back again upon the soft moss, arms spread gently, palms open to the sky. The valley hummed in response, a lullaby without words, a current of presence that wrapped them in calm. Sleep was not demanded, it was invited. The valley offered a steady rhythm, a soft heartbeat beneath the stars, and the traveler felt themselves gradually melting into the gentle cadence. In this moment, the language of the earth became clear. Listen, feel, observe, be present. There is strength in stillness, beauty in patience, and profound comfort in allowing oneself to rest while the world continues with quiet persistence. The traveler drifted slowly, carried on the soft currents of awareness, learning that to be grounded is to be awake to the subtle truths woven into every stone, stream, and leaf. And as night deepened, carrying with it the soft songs of crickets and the rustle of distant trees, the traveler felt a profound sense of alignment. The valley had become a companion, a teacher, and a gentle guide, whispering its truths without haste, without expectation, only steady, enduring presence. Sleep came at last, slow and tender, as the traveler surrendered to the valley's rhythm, to its gentle insistence on patience and presence. Dreams began to stir, not with urgency, but with quiet reflections of the day's discoveries. And the valley held them, unwavering, as the language of the earth continued to unfold in soft, deliberate waves around them. Part 3. The Keeper Beneath the Roots. Morning came slowly, as though the valley itself were drawing its breath and inviting the traveler to do the same. Mist hovered above the gentle hills, softening the edges of trees and rocks, wrapping the valley in a gauzy veil that seemed to hush even the quietest sounds. The traveler rose from their resting place beneath the oak, their bodies still attuned to the rhythm of the earth. Every step across the mossy ground felt deliberate and sacred, a quiet dialogue with the soil beneath their feet. As they wandered, they noticed subtle changes. The air seemed thicker here, carrying not just the scent of earth and dew, but something deeper, older, almost imperceptible, a richness that hinted at memory and wisdom rooted in the valley itself. The traveler breathed slowly, inhaling the faint warmth of stone warmed by the sun, and felt a gentle vibration beneath their feet, subtle, rhythmic, like a heartbeat shared by all living things in this place. The path led to a copse of trees, whose roots coiled above and below the soil like intertwined fingers, ancient and strong. Light filtered through the dense canopy, casting dappled shadows across the soft moss and leaf-strewn floor. The traveler paused, kneeling to run fingers along the gnarled roots, feeling their rough texture, the quiet strength they offered. And then, as if responding to their presence, the roots seemed to shift ever so slightly, a soft pulse that resonated through the soles of the traveler's feet and into the chest. A gentle warmth rose from the earth beneath, radiating up through the legs, into the torso, and settling in the heart. The traveler closed their eyes, sensing a presence that was neither intrusive nor demanding, yet undeniably there. It was calm, patient, and enduring, a silent observer that carried with it the weight of centuries. From the mist among the roots, a figure emerged, gradual and deliberate, as though materializing from the earth itself. At first, it was only a suggestion of shape, the glimmer of moss and bark coalescing into form. Then, slowly, a presence took on subtle features, tall, graceful, with skin that seemed to shimmer faintly like sunlit soil, hair threaded with strands of root and vine, eyes deep and steady, reflecting the soft greens and browns of the valley. The Earth Keeper had arrived. The traveler inhaled gently, not startled, only aware. There was no threat here, no urgency, only a profound invitation to pause and witness. The Keeper did not speak at first. They simply watched, their presence radiating calmness, a soft echo of the valley's own enduring patience. Every movement, every breath of the Keeper seemed synchronized with the subtle shifts of the grove, the sway of branches, the flow of air, the pulse of the soil. Finally, a voice emerged, low and melodic, as though carried on the wind itself. "You have come," it said, not as a question, but as a recognition. Not by haste, not by demand, but by the quiet call of the earth beneath your feet. The traveler bowed slightly, a gesture of acknowledgement and respect. I did not know I was searching," they murmured, voice barely above a whisper. "And yet, I feel I have arrived." The Keeper's eyes softened. Arrival is not measured in distance traveled, but in attention given. You have listened. You have observed. You have felt. And so the valley recognizes you. Time seemed to slow, as though the valley itself had drawn a deep, steady breath. The traveler felt it in every limb, every nerve, a subtle pulsing that mirrored the heartbeat of the Keeper beneath the roots. The air shimmered faintly with the promise of understanding, and the valley leaned in closer, wrapping both traveler and Keeper in a cocoon of calm. "Come," said the Keeper, gesturing toward a circle of roots that rose like natural arches from the earth. "There is something the valley wishes to show you." The traveler followed, their steps careful, attuned to the soft resistance of soil and moss beneath. The roots formed a small enclosure, a chamber of quiet energy. Sunlight filtered in through gaps above, illuminating particles of dust and pollen that drifted lazily in the air, like tiny motes of suspended magic. Here, the Keeper paused, hands hovering over the earth, and the ground beneath them responded with a subtle vibration, warm and steady. "You feel it," the Keeper said, "the language of the earth. You have begun to understand it." The traveler knelt, placing palms on the mossy floor. They could feel the slow pulse of life beneath, the faint vibration of roots and soil, and the hum of countless small creatures moving unseen. It was as if the valley itself were speaking, teaching patience, endurance, and the quiet strength of being. "Everything here," the Keeper continued, "moves with purpose, yet without hurry. Every root, every stone, every blade of grass holds memory and intention. To live in harmony with the earth is to understand that persistence is gentle, loyalty is quiet, and strength does not always demand action. The traveler exhaled slowly, absorbing the words and the presence, feeling a subtle warmth in the chest. I have always been moving, they said softly, always searching, always leaving. But here I feel something different, something I cannot name. The keeper tilted their head, a slow, deliberate motion. You feel the ground beneath you as more than earth. You feel it as companion, teacher, and mirror. You are learning that rest is not surrender, that stillness is not weakness. The heart, like the earth, thrives in quiet perseverance. A faint wind stirred within the chamber, lifting strands of hair and carrying the scent of moss, soil, and the faint sweetness of hidden blossoms. The traveler closed their eyes, allowing themselves to sink into the presence, to feel the pulse of life beneath the hands and in the very air around them. There was a profound safety here, an assurance that the valley and its keeper held no expectations beyond attentiveness and patience. The keeper knelt beside them, placing a hand gently over the traveler. Warmth radiated from contact, not in intensity, but in steady, enduring rhythm. Loyalty is more than devotion to another, the keeper whispered. It is devotion to life itself. It is the act of remaining, of tending, of bearing witness. You have wandered far, yet the earth reminds you. There is wisdom in staying, in nurturing, in being present for what matters. The traveler let the words sink in, feeling a subtle loosening of tension that had clung for years. Memories of restlessness, of endless movement, of silent yearning began to dissolve in the warmth of presence. In the valley, in the pulse beneath their palms, in the quiet, patient eyes of the keeper, they felt a sense of belonging that had never been known before. Show me, the traveler said softly, how to listen, how to remain, how to hold myself steady without fear. The keeper smiled, a slow, luminous expression that seemed to illuminate the roots and moss around them. Listen not only with ears, but with heart and body. Feel the weight of soil, the rhythm of water, the sway of trees. Observe the patience of creatures, the endurance of stone, the gentle unfolding of life. Let the earth teach you its own persistence, and you will learn to carry it within. Time passed slowly in the root chamber, measured not in minutes or hours, but in the soft cadence of breaths, the gentle movement of dust motes, and the subtle vibrations beneath. The traveler sat quietly, palms on earth, senses attuned to the valley's rhythms. The keeper remained nearby, present but unobtrusive, their very being a demonstration of the quiet strength the valley nurtured. A small root lifted from the soil, twisting slightly as if in greeting. The traveler reached out, feeling its resilience and subtle warmth. Even the smallest things carry wisdom, the keeper said. Strength is woven into every form, every movement, every stillness. Loyalty is not loud, it is quiet, continuous, and enduring. The sun shifted in the sky, casting the chamber into a warm glow. Shadows played across moss and roots, revealing hidden textures and subtle patterns. The traveler's awareness deepened, noticing details that had been invisible before: the tiny spiral of a fern, the soft curve of a stone, the gentle hum of unseen insects. Every detail spoke in the language of the earth, a code of patience, persistence, and calm understanding. Hours, or what seemed like hours, passed in gentle observation and presence. The traveler felt themselves transforming, not through dramatic events, but through the slow, deliberate absorption of the valley's rhythm. Muscles relaxed, thoughts slowed, and the heart opened to a quiet awareness of enduring strength. Presence itself became a lesson. Being here, fully in alignment with the earth, was a kind of mastery the traveler had never known. The keeper finally spoke, their voice a soft current flowing through the chamber. Remember this: the earth holds you not because you demand it, but because you accept it. Every step taken with awareness, every breath taken with intention, every moment of stillness carries the same weight as the tallest mountain, the deepest stream, the oldest root. Strength is cumulative. Patience is persistent. Loyalty is eternal. The traveler nodded, eyes closed, letting the words settle. In the quiet, a subtle glow seemed to rise from the roots, illuminating the space with gentle light. It was not magical in a bright or dramatic sense, but luminous in the way that understanding is. A warmth that spreads slowly, deeply, and quietly through the chest and limbs. As twilight approached, the keeper rose, their form blending once again with the roots and moss, subtle and deliberate. The valley has shared what it can, they said. The rest must grow within you. Carry it gently, let it settle, and know that the earth will continue to speak, even when I am unseen. The traveler rose as well, feeling the pulse of the roots beneath their feet, the slow warmth in the chest, the steady rhythm in the heart. There was no urgency to leave, no need to record or claim the lesson. It simply existed, a gentle knowledge woven into their being, ready to unfold over time. As they stepped from the chamber, the valley welcomed them in silence. Each tree, each stone, each blade of grass seemed to nod in quiet affirmation. The traveler felt a profound gratitude, a sense of belonging that had begun not through motion, but through stillness, observation, and the patient guidance of the Earth Keeper. Evening fell fully over the valley. Stars began to pierce the twilight, their light steady and enduring. The traveler found a soft patch of moss near the stream and settled upon it, arms loosely wrapped around knees, feeling the pulse of life beneath, around, and within. The valley hummed a lullaby without words, the rhythm of water, wind, and soil, a perfect accompaniment to the traveler's steadying heartbeat. Sleep approached slowly, as it always did here, not as an end, but as a continuation of presence. The traveler surrendered to the quiet wisdom of the valley, to the lessons learned in the chamber of roots, and to the enduring patience of the Earth Keeper. Strength, loyalty, and persistence were no longer abstract concepts. They were embodied, alive, and gentle companions in the drift toward rest. The valley held the traveler in calm, luminous expectation, a place where dreams could take root without rush, and where the heart could settle into the enduring embrace of earth and stillness. And as the traveler's eyes finally closed, the keeper's presence lingered softly in the pulse beneath the hands, the vibration in the soil, the gentle rhythm of life itself, a quiet assurance that grounding, patience, and quiet wisdom were always within reach. Part 4. The Weight That Softens. The valley awoke slowly, breathing in the subtle warmth of dawn, and the traveler moved among the gentle mists with a newfound awareness. Where before they had walked softly, attentive to texture and scent, now each step carried an internal echo of lessons learned. The pulse of the earth beneath their feet, the rhythm of flowing streams, and the lingering presence of the Earth Keeper had settled like a soft current through every limb, every breath, every heartbeat. There was no urgency to rise or leave. The traveler lingered among the dew-drenched grass, letting droplets fall onto skin, feel the cool kiss of morning, and catch the first light in tiny sparkles. The valley, patient and enduring, waited without need. In that waiting, the traveler felt a gentle release of burdens they had carried unknowingly for years, the weight of expectation, the tension of endless striving, the quiet ache of leaving without rest. A small hill, clothed in pale green moss and dotted with flowers, rose gently before them. The traveler moved toward it slowly, aware of each step. Beneath their feet, the moss offered soft resistance, a cushioning presence that mirrored the rhythm of breath and the subtle warmth of the heart. The valley seemed to guide every movement, allowing a balance between action and stillness. At the crest of the hill, the traveler paused. The valley stretched endlessly in gentle undulations of green, gold, and amber, bathed in morning light that shifted gradually as the sun rose. Streams gleamed in silver threads, wind carried whispers of earth and stone, and the distant hills appeared as soft shadows in the unfolding light. It was here, in this quiet panorama, that something shifted. The weight they carried no longer pressed in one place, but spread gently, like warmth through the body, settling into the world around them. They sat upon the soft moss, knees drawn close, hands resting lightly in their lap. In the gentle warmth of the sun and the whisper of wind through leaves, a subtle shift occurred. The tension in shoulders, the tightness along the spine, the invisible grip around the chest, they began to ease, not by force, but by recognition. Awareness alone seemed to loosen the bonds of effort, allowing each burden to settle and blend into the soft, enduring rhythm of the valley. A quiet song rose from the grove of trees nearby. Not a song of birds or wind, but a song of presence itself. The hum of moss, the pulse of roots, the slow, deliberate flow of water over stone. The traveler listened, letting each note settle in the chest. Each hum seemed to whisper, "You are not alone. You are held. You are known." And in that knowing, a gentle smile formed, lips barely curved, yet deep in its simplicity and understanding. The traveler's gaze fell upon a small stream that curved gracefully through the valley. They leaned forward, trailing fingers in the water, feeling its smoothness, its subtle current, the quiet persistence with which it moved over stone and around roots. Each ripple mirrored the pulse within them, a slow, continuous cadence that reminded the traveler of endurance, of loyalty to self, of the calm strength that did not demand recognition. There was no rush to explore further, yet a subtle curiosity drew the traveler along the stream, noticing each detail in deliberate focus. Tiny pebbles glistened beneath the water, polished and enduring. A frog rested on a moss-covered rock, its presence unobtrusive, yet full of calm certainty. Dragonflies skimmed across the water's surface, delicate and purposeful. All of it spoke in the silent language of the earth, teaching that every living being carried weight, yet moved gracefully, persistently, and gently. A breeze rose, lifting hair and loose fabric, and the traveler inhaled deeply, drawing in the scent of earth, stone, and flowering moss. With each breath, they felt the subtle lifting of burdens and emotional gravity dissolving into lightness. The weight they had carried so long was still present, but it no longer pressed as before, settling instead like a stone, finding its place in the earth. The traveler knelt beside a patch of soft ferns, fingers brushing against their delicate fronds. The intricate patterns fascinated them, each spiral and curve holding quiet perfection. There was beauty here in persistence, in the slow, patient unfolding of life. The valley's lesson was clear. Just as ferns uncoil gradually, so too could the heart release tension, soften the edges of worry, and embrace patience. Sunlight shifted through the canopy, casting slow-moving patterns across moss and stone. The traveler noticed the subtle interplay of shadow and light, how it moved without urgency, how it created gentle contrast without harshness. In this, the heart mirrored the valley. Illumination arrived in moments, often gradually, allowing the weight of past strain to soften in response. A small hollow formed between two gentle rises of earth, lined with smooth stones and soft moss. The traveler lowered themselves into it, feeling the gentle embrace of the earth as it cradled body and spirit alike. Here, in this natural seat, a deeper reflection arose. The softening of weight was not surrender, but transformation. Strength did not vanish, it became quieter, more enduring, more attuned to the flow of life rather than struggle against it. The breeze carried a faint fragrance of unseen blossoms, and the traveler closed their eyes, allowing the scent to mingle with warmth, light, and rhythm. They envisioned the burdens they had held, the longings unspoken, the pressures unseen, the small regrets and lingering worries as small stones in their hands. One by one, they imagined placing each into the stream, feeling them float gently, carried not away, but into balance with the world around them. The soft hum of the valley responded to this gesture, as if acknowledging the subtle act of release. The stream reflected sunlight in gentle, undulating waves, carrying the stones, carrying the weight, dispersing it evenly. The traveler felt a quiet exhilaration, not of excitement, but of relief, of harmony, of alignment. Emotional burdens did not vanish completely, but they lost their oppressive density, blending instead with the slow, deliberate pulse of the valley. Birdsong returned, not insistent, but soft, intermittent, and careful. The traveler noticed how each note lingered, then faded, leaving space for silence and reflection. This rhythm mirrored the process of softening, moments of light and song, moments of quiet and stillness, balanced delicately in the ebb and flow of experience. The traveler rose slowly, feeling the subtle grounding of the moss beneath, the gentle firmness of earth beneath the feet, and the soft pulse of life around them. Each step was deliberate, measured, yet infused with calm energy. The valley did not demand motion, but the traveler moved with intent, to walk, to observe, to continue the gentle unfolding of understanding. They came to a gentle rise where sunlight streamed through a cluster of tall trees, illuminating the curve of a small hill and the delicate dance of ferns and flowers along its slope. Here, they paused to rest hands on a smooth stone, feeling its weight and solidity. The stone, enduring and patient, seemed to offer the same lesson the valley had whispered. That persistence is gentle, and that strength can be soft and yielding without being weak. The traveler's mind drifted over memories of journeys past, of moments when strain had weighed heavily on heart and shoulders. Yet in this valley, in the embrace of moss, soil, water, and light, those memories no longer carried sharp edges. They softened, became threads woven into the larger fabric of calm, grounding, and enduring presence. A doe appeared at the edge of the clearing, moving slowly, each step deliberate and unhurried. The traveler observed in quiet awe, noticing the calm confidence, the patient loyalty to the path, the gentle interaction with the environment. The valley whispered its truths again. Loyalty is measured in presence, in patience, in the quiet endurance of being fully engaged with life around you. The traveler knelt once more by the stream, letting water flow through fingers and over palms. They imagined each drop as a pulse of calm, a gentle reminder of continuity and flow. The emotional weight that had once pressed heavily against their chest now floated lightly in harmony with the rhythm of the valley. They were learning that the heart, like water, could carry both reflection and release, persistence and gentleness in a delicate balance. As the day deepened, light shifted from gold to soft amber, painting the valley in a calm warmth. Shadows lengthened, intertwining with the light in slow, deliberate patterns. The traveler lay back upon a soft patch of moss, allowing the subtle glow to settle over body and mind alike. Here, in the gentle embrace of the earth, the emotional weight of life softened fully, transforming into quiet strength, steady persistence, and tender resilience. The valley itself seemed to breathe with the traveler, inhaling the softened burdens and exhaling calm assurance. There was no hurry to conclude this transformation, no need for dramatic gestures. The lesson was cumulative, gentle, and enduring. By allowing the heart to rest, by listening to the subtle rhythms of earth, water, and wind, the traveler discovered the quiet power of softness. Night approached slowly, and the first stars began to shimmer faintly above the treetops. The traveler nestled into moss, limbs loose, palms open, and eyes half closed. The valley hummed softly, a lullaby of earth, water, and wind. Every pulse, every vibration, every sound carried the subtle reminder: weight softens in stillness. What remains grows quiet and steady. Calm endures. As sleep approached, the traveler felt their heart lifted, not by excitement or external force, but by the quiet, cumulative power of gentle understanding. The valley had shown that the weight of life could soften without disappearing, that persistence could coexist with rest, and that loyalty to self, to life, to the enduring earth was a gift nurtured in stillness and attention. And as the traveler drifted slowly into sleep, embraced by moss, earth, and soft twilight, the valley seemed to whisper one final, enduring truth. The weight that softens does not vanish, but transforms. It becomes rhythm. It becomes presence. It becomes the gentle heartbeat that carries one through every step of the journey ahead. Part 5, where the heart rests. The valley had shifted once again, though almost imperceptibly. The light of early evening bathed the hills in soft amber, a glow that softened every edge and whispered of rest. The traveler moved slowly along the winding path, feeling the familiar pulse of moss beneath their feet, the steady warmth of earth beneath each step, and the gentle rhythm of streams carrying water past rounded stones. Each movement was deliberate, a dialogue with the valley that had become a companion and a teacher. They reached a gentle rise where the trees parted to reveal a small clearing, framed by moss-covered stones and leaning trunks. The air was heavy with the scent of earth and the faint sweetness of hidden blossoms. Here, the traveler paused, inhaling slowly, letting the rhythm of the valley seep fully into their being. The lessons of patience, persistence, and quiet strength, the guidance of the Earth Keeper, settled like a soft current into the heart. The valley hummed in response, not as sound, but as presence, a gentle pulse in the soil, a subtle vibration in the air, a warmth in the chest that seemed to rise directly from the earth itself. The traveler knelt and pressed palms to the moss, feeling the slow, steady heartbeat of the land. It was not a rush of energy, nor a force demanding attention. It was calm, enduring, and patient, a reflection of the very truth they had been learning all along. As the wind stirred, carrying the rustle of leaves and the faint song of distant streams, the traveler closed their eyes. Thoughts of journeys past, of restlessness and longing, drifted gently into memory. There was no urgency to release them. They simply softened, blending with the rhythm of the valley, absorbed into the steady pulse of life around and beneath them. Every inhale brought awareness. Every exhale offered release. A soft glow illuminated the clearing. As the sun sank lower behind distant hills, casting long, gentle shadows that intertwined with pools of amber light. The traveler lay back upon the moss, feeling its softness and firmness in perfect balance. Arms spread loosely, legs relaxed, palms open to sky. They let the valley cradle them fully. Each breath became a tether to the present, each heartbeat a connection to the enduring calm beneath. Nearby, a stream curved lazily around smooth stones, its water catching the last of the sunlight in rippling threads of silver. The traveler extended a hand, letting the cool current flow across fingertips. In its gentle movement, there was a lesson. Flow does not require haste, and persistence does not demand struggle. To move with the world, to exist within the rhythm of life, is itself a form of strength. A gentle breeze rose, lifting hair and loose fabric, brushing against the skin with delicate touch. The traveler inhaled the scent of moss, soil, and flowering vines, feeling a quiet warmth spread through the chest. This was the final softening, the settling of weight carried too long, transformed into gentle understanding. The valley whispered without words, "You are held, you are home, you are enough." Above, the first stars began to twinkle faintly in the evening sky, pale points of light scattered across deepening blue. The traveler lifted their gaze, noticing how the universe seemed to mirror the valley, patient, enduring, beautiful in small, quiet details. Each star was steady, persistent, and soft, much like the lessons that had woven themselves into the traveler's heart over days of wandering and resting. They remembered the Earthkeeper, the gentle figure beneath the roots, the presence that had guided without demand. The traveler felt a warm smile touch their lips, a quiet gratitude that did not need words. The quiet truths of loyalty, patience, and endurance were no longer abstract. They had become a living part of the self, inseparable from breath, heartbeat, and touch. A small cluster of fireflies emerged as darkness deepened, moving lazily in shimmering arcs through the clearing. Their glow was soft, intermittent, and deliberate. The traveler watched in quiet awe, letting the tiny lights carry the mind into gentle reflection. Just as the fireflies persisted without hurry, so too could the heart carry understanding and care, quietly and steadily, without strain or force. The valley seemed to sigh with them, a soft exhalation that moved through trees, over stones, across streams, and into the traveler's being. Each sound, each subtle movement of air, each glimmering light carried reassurance. That presence is its own reward, that stillness can hold wisdom, and that rest is not passive, but a form of engagement with life's enduring rhythm. The traveler rose slowly, letting the weight of the day and of the inner journey settle fully into the body. They walked deliberately toward a small, sunken grove, a natural seat formed by roots and stones. Here, they lowered themselves, feeling the gentle embrace of the earth in every curve of the body. The valley wrapped around them like a soft, unbroken cocoon, secure, patient, and protective. In this quiet refuge, the traveler reflected on the path that had brought them here. They remembered the gentle arrival into the valley, the slow exploration of streams, stones, and moss, the mystical encounter with the Earth Keeper, and the subtle transformation of burdens into soft, enduring strength. Each step had been deliberate, each pause meaningful, each breath an act of presence. And now, the culmination of the journey was not a dramatic event, but a deep, quiet understanding. To rest fully is to honor the journey, and to finally allow the heart to be at peace. The wind shifted again, lifting the edges of leaves, brushing the traveler's cheeks, carrying whispers of distant trees. They felt a delicate pulse beneath their palms, a gentle vibration in the soles of their feet, a warmth in the chest that radiated through the limbs. The valley was alive in every subtle motion, yet patient in all things. It did not demand attention. It did not hurry. It simply existed, and in its existence offered calm, security, and continuity. The traveler leaned back, eyes half closed, letting the valley's rhythm carry them. Thoughts drifted like clouds, some fleeting, some persistent, but all softened in the gentle embrace of the earth and the quiet presence of stars above. There was no need to grasp, no need to chase, no need to resolve, only to be. The heart, long accustomed to carrying invisible burdens, felt the first true ease it had known in years. Nearby, the stream reflected starlight in slow-moving ripples. The traveler dipped fingers into the water, feeling the steady, unhurried flow. Life, like this stream, moved not in urgency, but in gentle persistence. Strength was measured in presence, loyalty in attention, and patience in the willingness to remain steady even when change was slow. Each droplet, each ripple, each reflection mirrored the softening of the traveler's heart, echoing lessons learned and held. A faint rustle among the trees revealed a small fox moving silently and gracefully through the clearing. It paused briefly, observing the traveler with calm awareness, then continued on its quiet path. The traveler watched in quiet admiration, noting how even the smallest life here carried confidence, presence, and a gentle endurance. All creatures of the valley moved in harmony with the land, teaching without words the art of steady attention, of balanced being. As night deepened, the temperature softened, the air carrying a gentle coolness that pressed lightly against skin and hair. The traveler wrapped themselves in a shawl of moss and fabric, feeling both warmth and gentle resistance. They settled deeper into the natural seat, arms loose, legs bent comfortably, and let the body fully surrender to the rhythm of the valley. The first full moon rose above the distant hills, its light pale and luminous. The traveler felt it in the chest, a slow, gentle pulse that mirrored the heartbeat of earth beneath and air around. Moonlight pooled over moss, stone, and stream, weaving a pattern of soft illumination across the valley floor. In its glow, the traveler felt a quiet reflection of everything learned: calm, patience, persistence, loyalty, and the softening of weight that once pressed heavily on the heart. A gentle rustle of leaves, the soft hum of insects, the quiet trickle of water, and the distant sigh of wind became a symphony of comfort. The traveler let eyes close fully, listening to every subtle note, every vibration, every soft presence. Here, in this place, the valley's lessons fully blossomed into understanding. Rest is not inactivity, presence is not effort, and strength exists quietly, in patience, in care, in endurance without demand. As sleep approached, the traveler felt every muscle loosen, every thought soften, every heartbeat settle into harmony with the rhythm of the valley. The Earth Keeper's presence lingered in memory, a gentle assurance that the wisdom of roots, stones, and streams would remain. The valley itself seemed to exhale slowly, wrapping the traveler in luminous calm, a final lullaby without words. The stars above, the moonlight on moss and stone, the gentle pulse of the streams, and the enduring presence of earth beneath became one steady current. The traveler let themselves drift fully into it, surrendering not out of fear, but out of trust, allowing every subtle lesson, every softened weight, every quiet truth to fold into the body and heart. And so, in the valley that had taught patience, loyalty, and enduring calm, the traveler finally rested. The heart, once heavy with invisible burdens, now lay softened, aligned, and calm. Sleep arrived not as a sudden event, but as a gentle tide, carrying the traveler into a realm of dreams woven from moss, streams, wind, and quiet starlight. Here, at last, the heart rested. And now, dear dreamer, as your eyes grow heavy and your mind drifts, remember the valley, the soft moss, the quiet pulse of earth beneath you. Carry this calm with you into your dreams, letting patience and gentle strength settle into your heart. If this story brought you comfort, warmth, or a moment of stillness, you're always welcome to stay with me, here at Candle by the Sea. Subscribe, and let these stories continue to guide you slowly, softly, and with care into deep rest and the soft embrace of night. Rest here a while longer, letting the quiet strength of patience, persistence, and presence fill you. And may tomorrow greet you grounded, warm, and steady.